Hi, my name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help people build intentional, significant legacies for themselves and their families by coaching them in real estate. Now, a big part of that today is going to be keeping you updated on what is going on in the local real estate market, specifically in the MatSu Valley. In this market, we've seen a lot of activity in the past couple of months. And there's a lot of exciting stuff here if you're looking to buy or sell, so we'll be getting into that. But first, if you haven't done so already, make sure you do give this video a like. If you haven't done so, make sure that you do subscribe. And if you have any questions, make sure you post that in the comment section down below. Now, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, the first thing we want to look at is the number of active listings that are currently on the market. Now, this should give you a lot of excitement if you're looking at selling in the near future, because this shows we have really low inventory right at the moment. So that's good. That's good. So low inventory means that buyers are going to have fewer options, and that's usually going to mean you can expect to get a little bit of a higher of a price. It also does speed up overall days on market we're going to see, and overall it's a pretty good thing. Now, there's way less inventory here than there was last year. Okay, you can see it kind of just goes all the way across here, just all over. But really the big thing that we're seeing is this year the inventory on the market is going to be roughly about 440. Last year it was about 772, if I recall correctly. So what that means is huge cut in inventory. So that's first off. Second thing that we want to look at is the number of properties that actually sold in this market during this time period. Now that we see over here, even though the inventory was way down, the number of properties that have sold is actually increased, which means that we've actually have seen a demand from more people wanting to purchase in the past couple of months, because it's not just this month. You're going to see it for the other months here as well. So that is a very favorable indicator that there's still a pretty high demand out there, that even though inventory is low, it's still selling at a very high rate. So that's good. Next thing that we want to look at is the average sold price, which I'm sure if you were looking at buying or selling, this is probably one of the first things that you want to know. Now, over here, what this chart is showing us is it's pretty predictable. What we would expect with seeing low inventory and a high number of properties that have actually sold. But the average sold price has gone up to roughly about $294,000. This time last year, though, in September, because that's the most recent data point that we have for the entire month, what we're going to see is it was actually about $296,000 during that time period. And obviously, you can look at all the different times and price ranges that we see over here, but by and large, average sold price, or the average price per property sold in the MatSu Valley, has gone up, and that's a pretty favorable indicator. Has this been useful for you so far? If it has, you know what to do. Make sure you give this video a like, and if you have any additional questions or concerns, make sure you post those in the comment section down below, and be happy to help as best I can. Now, the next thing that we want to look at is what is going on with the multi-unit properties in the MatSu Valley. And to look at this, the very first thing we're going to check out is the total number of active listings that we have on the market for multifamilies. Now, over here, this shows we were actually significantly down from where we were this time last year. Again, the most recent metric point being in September. So this shows that this time last year there were 66 multi-unit properties that were on the market. This year, 48. So this is going to impact the market in multi-units, also just having less inventory than there were before. It's not exactly the same, because it's not going to follow exactly the same rules, because how you buy a house and how you buy an investment property are going to be two different things, and the market's going to hit it differently. But this is definitely good to know. Inventory is down for multi-units in the MatSu Valley. The next thing that we want to look at is the number of multi-unit properties that actually sold in the MatSu Valley during that time period, during the month of September compared to the past previous years. Over here, this really does show that we are seeing a lot more activity for the number of properties that are actually selling that are for multi-unit properties. As a matter of fact, there were 19 multi-unit family properties sold this past September. The year before, it was 11. So you see a significant jump there. Matter of fact, the only time period in recent history was back in August of 2017, where it jumped and had 19 properties that sold during that time period as well. So that's really what we're going to be seeing here, that inventory is low and it's still selling pretty quickly, and we're getting a high demand for multi-unit properties still. Lastly, the thing that we're going to be checking out here is the average sold price for multi-unit properties. Now, this is less useful than what it would be for the residential properties, and the reason for that is that multi-units can be anywhere there on the spectrum. You can have properties that are a duplex that's about $200,000 all the way up to more of a commercial grade, kind of a multi-unit property that's obviously going to be selling for significantly more. That has garage stalls and a bunch of other, really accessorized kind of components that would make it a really high value investment property. So with that being the case, I don't really find this to be that useful, especially when our sample size is a little bit smaller, because keep in mind, we only had 19 properties sell, and that's doing really good for the MatSu Valley. But you can get one or two really big properties that sell during that time period, and it's going to kind of throw the average off. But we have it here anyway. The average sold price for a multi-unit property in the MatSu Valley is about $425,000, somewhere right in there. So that's good. That does mean that we are seeing kind of a consistent price for properties that did sell. Really what stood out to me is it stayed pretty consistent for September, but going a couple months before that, though, we're seeing that the average sold price actually went significantly higher than the year before. Now, this can be a number of things. Number one, the inventory was low then, and also it really comes down to what properties were selling during that time period. Because it is a smaller sample size, you get a couple of $800,000 properties that are going to sell, and suddenly that just, accordion style, stretches everything out pretty quickly. So that's what we're seeing for the average sold price, though. All right, so let's go ahead and break all of this down and kind of put it together in a nice, succinct summary for you. What we're seeing in the MatSu Valley is inventory remains low. Okay, so that's number one, a pretty good thing. Number two, the average sales price is remaining pretty strong at this point. We see for the multi-unit properties, it's kind of just keeping in line with what it did the previous year during that month. That being the case, though, the previous months, it was obviously significantly higher. So we're going to continue to kind of see some fluctuations in the multi-unit properties in the MatSu Valley, partly because the market is showing less inventory, and also just because there's a lot more variation with multi-unit properties than you're going to get with residential. Okay, and thirdly, demand still remains high going into this time of year. So if you are a seller and you're considering getting onto the market, it's not a bad time to consider doing that. What we do know is it's not likely to get a whole lot better than what it is right at this moment. So if you're looking at selling, it's not a bad time to talk about that. If you're looking at buying, there still are deals out there, and you can still find those kind of that perfect property that you're looking for that's going to work on your timeline. We just have to be very intentional and strategic about making it happen. If you would like to talk about how we can make that happen for you, I'd be happy to do that for you. contact me through my Facebook page. The link for that is going to be down below. And thank you for watching. Do make sure that you give this video a like. And like I said, contact me down below on the Facebook page, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Downloading my app is pretty simple. You simply scroll to the description section of my videos, click on the link there. It's going to take you to my website. From there, scroll down, hit download app. It'll take you to a place where you enter in your phone number. Enter that in, click send link. It's going to text you a link to the App Store. And from there, you'll have to click on that, enter in your email address, and then it's going to register you to the app, and you'll be able to start modifying your search. You can modify number of bedrooms, bathrooms, property type. You have a lot of modifications you can do on there, or just draw a shape to it. From there, you'll have the ability to go and just browse through, create your own specific saved searches on there that's going to make sense for you. Go ahead and add notes just so it makes sense. And that's going to be kind of the basic search capabilities. There are a lot of extra bonuses and things to this that make it really beneficial, like walking you through the entire process as a buyer or seller and giving you all the details that's involved with each one of those steps. So never at any point are you going to be lost in the process. So we've kind of just scratched the surface here, but that's just to get you started.